This is Dungeon Not Included, the actual play podcast for the adventurous listener. You are listening to our game of Vampire the Masquerade from White Wolf Publishing. Frank is your storyteller. Alex plays Merryweather Quackenbush. Brennan plays Lex Deluxe. And Red plays Charlie Clark. Our theme music is by Seamus Ronan. You have no idea how close I came to hitting end broadcast. Like this giant red button feels like something I should press. Hi, I'm Frank, and I'm running this vampire game with my pals, Alex, Red, and Brennan. Hi, everyone. How are you?
Well, it looks like it's Alex, Red, and the wall. Here.
It's Alex, Red, and... No, go for it. I was just going to make a Solomon Grundy joke. That's all.
There you go.
Gandalf the White.
Yeah, Gandalf the White.
It looks like Brennan fell off the balrog.
For our podcast listeners, Brennan's camera appears to have whitewashed his face so much that he looks like he's part of the background. It's
it's
really
great.
Terrible.
Yes.
Yeah, the white ceiling and white walls behind you don't help. Like it's like you've camouflaged yourself entirely into this wall.
I didn't color correct my camera before going on, so I'm very red as well. The whole thing is just not red, the character, the person.
Yeah.
Oh man, we can't go 2 weeks without doing a podcast. This is not we started off with the Ed Biden. I also said, hey, let's not talk about anything serious before we go on. And then I immediately went on, but I didn't give context to what I was talking about. Last week, this isn't what I was talking about, but last week, I got sick and we didn't get a chance to do a show. Week before, we had a cancellation that we didn't uncancel in time. But we're back on episode 3 of our Vampire the Masquerade role-playing game. That's
God, it's only episode 3. So much has happened.
Oh yeah, that's crazy.
Well, and I was told that someone was waiting last week for the new story that was supposed to be coming out. So Frank, I blame you.
I accept that. I accept that responsibility. It's really fun to hear everyone's reaction to the show. Just before we went on, I got comments on Facebook about people being upset that they can't watch this live for this week or whatever. Of course, we archive this. I think it gets archived on Twitch, probably not very well, but we do have a podcast you should subscribe to. And if you are watching live, you get to name characters as they appear.
I've got my my little murderous notepad to keep track of that too.
That's right, the murderous notepad.
Yeah, so far I have on here. Let's see what I can remember. I have a bunch of things. I have Lucius Ali, who is the named he's my secretary / what do they call them? They're like the person who
personal assistant.
No, but isn't he's been Renfielded? Isn't
Renfield. Right.
Yeah, so he's my ghoul. And then I have Susie Smith, who's the woman who hired us for the party. And then I have Archie, who I'm assuming is her brother.
No, I don't. Archie is the prince.
Thank you.
The Archie Stewart is the prince.
And then I have the word roast beef circled. I don't remember why. It was clearly important because
I think you ordered someone to get a roast beef because they looked hungry.
Right. I told that guy to go get himself a nice steak because he was so anemic.
Yeah. I didn't write down the police officer's name who was probably the most important person for us to know.
I don't know that we got their name. I'm pretty sure we just know that it's Susie's brother.
Yes, but I also think, if I remember correctly from the beginning, that we established that my character would probably know who he is, though, because he's like the chief of police of the town, right? Or he's the sheriff of this area.
The chief of police, and I don't remember their name off the top of my head. It could be on one of the Roll20 screens that I'm going to flip through in a minute.
Cool.
But what we have, the story so far is it's the 90s. We are in Las Vegas, and Las Vegas is kind of a weird little town. It's smaller than you expect it to be. It's really densely populated for a small area, but everywhere else is kind of empty. And there aren't a ton of vampires lurking about. But you three are in a coven, and there's maybe 4 other named important vampires in the area. But I think Merriweather found out through one of his contacts, that I'm also heavily medicated, so apologize.
That's Lux's job.
That's right.
Merriweather found out that there was a vampire killing, like somebody was killed by a vampire, and the humans are going to have a field day with this as soon as it hits the presses, which it is not yet. The 3 of you have gone to the prince to say, do notice this is maybe happening. And you just uncovered the goon squad. His 6 Gould servants have kind of taken over the council from underneath Archie Stewart's wing. He's still there, but he's completely like batshit.
Yeah, that's where we ended. Was where we ended was our first time seeing him actually in person during this. Yeah.
Look good.
That's pretty much where that's gonna be where we pick up. You know about a vampire king. You don't have many details. You just know that it's gonna get out soon because the chief of police is already talking to family members about it. And you potentially will be the ones who leak it, depending on how Merriweather's art show goes. And you have an audience with the prince.
I just said fun because this is so fun. This is my favorite thing that's happened ever in my 150 some years of life.
So I have a question for Charlie. How long have you been in Vegas? Mostly because I think you may be the person who knows Archie Stewart, Prince of Las Vegas, the most.
Yeah, I'd say I've been around for at least probably 75, 80 years, if I had to guess.
All right. Okay. And it could be whatever you want. So that's probably when it first started being sort of trailing off from the early days. It was a kind of a mining town. There was enough mines nearby where there were people in the area, and that's when they started building casinos and theaters and stuff for the miners. So you may have been there from that point, which is actually around the same time Archie showed up. So you may know him from around the same time. What kind of relationship do you want to have with him?
I don't know. As we established in the last episode, I'm a pretty good person. So we're probably like friendly, I'd say. Not friends, but at least acquaintances.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. And you don't maybe do you know too much? Do you know about his comings and goings, or do you want to know about his comings and goings? Or is this mostly like I try not to tread on other vampires and hope they do the same for me?
Yeah, I think it's more like we can pick up a conversation whenever we're in the same place, but that rarely ever happens because we do not run in the same circles.
Right. For his part, he has only been called Prince for the past 20 years. And that's partially because the Camarilla as a whole hasn't really been in Las Vegas. Earlier than that, maybe it was just looked down upon, or it just never really, you don't know enough. They just weren't around. He has never looked the way you see him now. He is pretty disheveled. Mostly he looks hungry, like he hasn't fed in a while, which is dangerous for a vampire. If you don't feed, you can go berserk. And yeah, he's got a very short fuse and doesn't want to have to deal with any of this, but you have the 3 of you have worried his ghouls enough where they summoned him. So which one of you is going to tell me what this is all about? He has a vague Southern accent I'm not going to try to replicate. Yeah, you don't want me to try to slip into every Balkan accent and eventually just land on the Count from Sesame Street. Which one of you is going to tell me what this is all about?
Yeah, so there's a slight issue here in Vegas. There is word has gotten out about this, about all of this. The humans are aware of our presence.
You mean the masquerade is at risk?
Yes.
How aware? And which humans?
Local constabulary has a strong evidence of our existence. They have a body that they believe proves that the folklore related to us is real, and are prepared to make it public in a spectacular way.
He's like, he's rocking back and forth listening to you. These are not mannerisms he's had in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Folklore.
Yes.
This is fine. Nothing will come of this. We won't get involved.
Archie, listen. I know. I'm sorry, I'm just laughing at calling him Archie. Anyway, Charlie says, Archie, listen. I know you're kind of a let it play out kind of guy, but this is 2 steps beyond that. They're ready to take this public.
It's too risky, too thin, spread too thin. There's not enough of us. We can't make more. We can't handle the pressures of this. It's best we see what happens. Yes.
What if we were also on the hook to facilitate it?
Facilitate what?
The reveal.
I am shaking my head.
We are in a position where we might be able to control the narrative. We'll say we are in a position where this reveal is going to happen, but we could possibly make it happen on our terms.
You can pick up on the fact you're a pretty social person. I think you could probably pick up on the fact that he seems more susceptible than you would have ever noticed before. You didn't even make an argument right now. Now he's sort of nodding and, oh yes, we'll control the narrative. We'll make this happen the way we want it to happen. Tell me more about your plan.
Well, we were thinking of throwing a party. One themed like the various folklore. And maybe if it's ostentatious and elaborate enough, people will think that the whole thing's a joke. Like they will think they're invited to something. Like this is like Anne Rice's birthday. Like they've been invited to a fun, extravagant night that's filled with nothing more than story. If we make this as gaudy and Transylvanic as possible, I don't know if that's a word.
Out of character for a moment, I just want to implore on all our audience, our podcast listeners in the future, I want you to know this has been Alex's plan from the get-go. He has wanted to make a vampire casino called Stakes. That's his whole scheme.
Yep.
This is just a stunt to get your vampire casino rolling, isn't it?
Absolutely. You gotta make
the dream.
Exactly. You gotta make it happen. That's not gonna happen for you.
Archie's like, yes. We'll facilitate the folklore and we'll make it happen. He becomes a little bit more mumbly to himself. You could tell that the six ghouls of the goon squad are very nervous, but they've yet to have the courage to intercede or do anything in front of the three of you because of how creeped out you made them in the last game. I say
loudly, like conversationally, so that Archie can totally hear me. To Meriwether and Charlie, I'm going to say, he looks really hungry.
He does indeed. When's the last time that you ate, sir?
He bulks at this. He goes even paler if possible. And his eyes nervously dart to all six of his ghouls. And he sort of gets up abruptly and starts to walk. He definitely seems to be in control of the situation. They are coming to his needs, but they kind of circle him and say, I think the prince has been overtaxed. There's much on his mind. He needs, but it does kind of feel like they're taking his order. He is the one who's just sort of preparing to storm out of the audience. You're in to remind everyone, you're in like a little rec room in the basement of this this sort of rec center that the council meeting is being held in. He seems to have gotten very nervous about the realization that he was hungry or that he looks hungry and wants to leave. And his goons are trying to make a wall and facilitate that. What do you want to do?
God, I'm a social character, but I feel like Charlie's the best one to do this. I want Charlie to sort of like walk up, not even notice the goon squad, and just put a hand on Archie's shoulder and be like, hey man, what's going on?
He takes a deep breath, looks you up and down, and in his most arrogant, possibly even vampiric presence, says, You dare put your hand on me. I am your prince. I am in charge here. This is my city. He doesn't even seem to have like the energy to really gesticulate or do anything. But again, feebleness on a vampire is hard to read. He's never really spoken to you this way before, but you haven't had a lot of social interactions, so maybe he is a prick. But yeah, who knows?
I'm just gonna say, like, you, like, under my breath, so that nobody around us can hear. Just like, you don't look all that well. What's wrong?
All right. What reaction do you want to get out of him?
What honesty? I want to know what the hell is wrong with this guy so I can help him.
Okay. I feel like this might be a So you tell me how your tone, what your tone actually is here, because it's kind of like you're being quiet. Are you an intimidation act, or is this an empathy thing? Are you trying to like feel?
Definitely empathy.
Okay. Then I think it would probably be charisma empathy if you want to roll that.
Sure. Do I get any bonus points for status or generation or anything?
I will let you add your dice in status. So you could add that to your pool.
Okay. And I have...
Let's see if that fancy 3D dice rolling from Roll20 matters.
Yeah. Difficulty 6?
Difficulty 6.
Okay. Let's see if it'll roll. Yeah. 3 successes.
Nice.
Slowly.
Okay.
Very slowly.
Very slow roll. So Archie bulks. Archie, he was bulking when you dare touch him or whatever. You were pretty straightforward with him. So give me that line again, or whatever you say to reach through his arrogance and directly to the man.
Yeah, just like, hey man, you don't look well. What's wrong?
Perhaps, and kind of like, it seems even more arrogant when he's just sort of fixing his suit, but perhaps I am overworked and undernourished. I should take my leave, find something suitable to eat. I will be well. And I would be even more if the three of you who brought this ill news to my doorstep, to our doorstep, would do some work on investigating exactly how viable these claims are. Is this a ridiculous human playing out some fantasy, or is this a vampire that needs to be dealt with?
All right.
I would recommend seeking out some information from some of the others in our community that have not fit to come and take counsel with me in too long. And I thank you for your service. I don't know if there's a dramatic pause there or if there's lag in my computer.
I could hear most of what you were saying, but it was cutting in and out real bad at the end there.
Oh no, I was so good.
Yes.
I know. From what I could
All right.
hear.
I'm going to do it without all the acting. That's the problem. The real acting. Oh. Yeah, so just so basically he gives you a +2 sword, and he says, "Go fight my enemies." No, he's saying that he is overworked, which is the classic excuse everyone gives when they're stressed out, but also underfed, which seems legit. Why would he be underfed? It's hard to know, but there's various reasons for a vampire not feeding. He also asked you to take some of the stress off of him by finding out if this is a real vampire that needs to be, or if this is a human pretending to be a vampire and who may also need to be killed.
Okay, yeah. And,
he
Charlie...
suggested there are other vampires in the community that don't go to him anymore. They don't seek counsel with him that you can potentially use and ask them questions. We went through that a couple of weeks ago, but I can refresh your memories if you want.
No, there's like a Bat Boy or whatever his name is, right?
Yeah, the creep who lives in the sewer. He looks like Bat Boy. And then there's like 2 hobo vampires who live out in I forgot the name of the cave. Gypsum Cave, I think. It's like where the mine used to be back in the day.
Yeah.
And that's basically it.
Okay, so I'll pat him on the shoulder again and be like, don't worry, I take care of problems. And then I'll head back to the guys and sort of just be like, all right, we got some work to do.
All right.
So
right,
I'll fill them in on what the prince told me, basically. Not the overworked and underfed part, but the you handle this problem part.
Okay. Sounds good. So what's the plan? What do you want to do about this?
Well, personally, I think that I should get in contact with Susie. I think that I should try and arrange a meeting with her and her brother so we can try and figure out this party a bit more. I I don't know what you two would like to do. I don't think I'm exactly going to need Muscle or you with me for that meeting. But if the two of you would like to try and get a more underground approach to things, I'm sure we can find out some more information that way.
Well, we got that creep and the two down at the old mine that we could check into, see what they might know. I don't know, Lex, what you thinking? Should we go together or should we split up?
Well, there's 3 things to do and 3 of us. So
Sure.
let's split up.
Okay. You want the creep or the 2 at the mine?
I'll talk to the 2 at the mine.
Creep it is.
Nice. All right. I think it might work best to go with Merryweather first.
Sure.
Because that's just following up a lead you already concretely have.
Absolutely.
So Susie is waiting for your call. Boom. Yes.
Perfect. So can we fast forward? I would like to be back in my apartment in the hotel, that like in my big office. So yeah, I call Susie. Ring, 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 ring.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Merryweather. Oh, I was waiting for you.
Susie, how are you, hon? We need to get this thing planned. Now, I know we had said that we're going to do this later in the week. Were we thinking Friday, Saturday? I don't remember.
Well, I don't know what would be best for you.
Oh, honey,
And
I
this
can get
sort of
I can get whatever you need. That's your wish, my command. You just tell me what you want.
So generally your experiences with people in power and authority probably is that if you tell them that they know best, they will come up with some reason why their random ass idea makes sense. Mm-hmm. So what should be the random ass reason for Friday or Saturday? Let's say Friday, because I've been hearing good things about TGIF.
Oh, yes. Yes, yeah. Absolutely. We should roll right into that. In fact,
all the kids are talking about it.
Absolutely. I think that we should, for the sake of that, though, if we're going to lean into this, should probably be after 10 o'clock at night. You don't want to.
Why is that? What does TGIF stand for?
It stands for Thank Goodness It's Friday. It's a.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
so I
knew that.
Mm-hmm. We're going to lean heavily into TGIF. Except this time it's going to be TGIV. Thank God it's vampires.
Oh,
right.
I like that, and I like the religious aspects of it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We will. Yes, we will make sure that is prominently themed throughout this party.
You've had this conversation before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vampires, but they go to church on Sundays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So okay, so Friday night TGIV, we'll make sure we have that ready to go. I need to know guest list. I need to have an idea of how many people we are expecting. And let's be honest here, if your brother is involved in this, I need to find out how many of his cop buddies are coming. Just because, when one rolls in, usually the rest come later. So, do you think maybe we could have a dinner tonight? Are you up for a little on me, of course? Would you and your brother love to come to the casino?
I think that would be wonderful. I don't know. Well, personally, I'm not sure if I really should have been blabbing about this too much. He might get really upset.
Well, I've never seen a situation defuse easier than when you put a nice steak in front of somebody.
He does like steak.
Yeah.
All right, I can ask Robert if he's free, and if he is, I'll tell him that maybe how many seats. We don't want to have too many of the,
Oh no, I'll get us a room.
We'll be good there, but maybe 10.
10? Sure, yeah. We can 10.
Or
so
5,
I need to know.
Give them +1s. I mean, they often have like passably attractive wives.
Oh, sure. Absolutely. Who doesn't love a badge bunny?
Podcast listeners,
right?
I'm shaking my head very aggressively. Who I do not like.
We
right.
love misogyny coming from a real man.
Yes.
Yeah. So, okay. So we're going to plan on them. I think that we need to get your list down. How many people do you think are going to be there? Because,
Okay.
got to get the catering menu and blah, blah, blah.
Most of the rest, I think the conversation is going
Sure.
to be
Off camera.
dumb,
Totally.
adult, but you did get
Robert's name.
that she's going to reach out. I believe we said it was a brother-in-law. So
Sure.
I think it was. So Robert Goals is his name, chief of police. I'm going to write that down or else I'll forget it. And yes, let's say we probably won't get confirmation about him definitely coming until later, but Robert Goals, the officer who found the body, she'll say that. What's his name? It was an ethnic name. McCormick.
McCormick. You got it.
Very ethnic.
Yep. Got McCormick.
Does she know that Irish people are white now?
No. She's not even a vampire. She's less progressive than... Anyways, yes, Officer McCormick. She's almost positive that's the name of the officer that found the body. She doesn't have a lot of details, really. It's just that there was a vampire killing.
Perfect.
And she's pretty sure that the person was drained dry because it sounds like it should have been that.
I mean, not that's not perfect for them, but yeah, perfect for us. Okay. We can wrap that convo as if it's yada yada.
Right.
I'm going to call Lucius in really quick.
Okay.
So Lucius,
sir,
I need you to make a quick call for me. We need to have a security consult for the casino. I think that we need to find Officer McCormick and see if we can't get him in here at some point in the next day or two, just so I can talk to him about beefing up security. I know that there's a lot of cops that like to do some off-duty work. I would love to talk to him about that. Do you think you can get a message down to the police station for me?
Absolutely, I can. And let's figure out right now whether or not this is successful.
Sure.
Let's pull up your character sheet and get you to roll. I'm trying to pull out my... Oh, there they are. Sorry.
Charisma.
So many windows. I'm not going to share this because it made our game crazy last time. But
what do you need me to roll?
I believe this is going to be a manipulation roll as well. Now, this is sort of a. How are you trying to manipulate things here?
Well, let's see.
Do you want to use for this?
I'm trying to think of what I have that's decent here for this sort of situation. So I'm looking at the abilities. So
while you are using
I was going to use charisma I was going to use either charisma or manipulation for the attribute. And I think for this, can I use security? No, that's not really what we're doing here. I
mean, I could kind of justify it. You basically know enough so that what you're asking for sounds super legit.
Okay, then let's do that.
If you want to use security.
Yeah, no, let's try that.
Okay,
that makes sense.
Yeah, I would say manipulation because you're being a little manipulative here.
Yep, manipulative
and
security.
You're sending agents to your bidding. Security, and if you want to add a couple of points, do you have status?
Do I have status? Yeah, I have status 3, I think. Yeah. Background. No, I have resources.
Add your status,
wait, is status different than resources?
Yes.
I thought status was
different,
only good for vampires. Wouldn't it be fame for people?
So you can use your resources on this if you'd like.
So add 3 to it,
and you can even do it after you roll if you want. So that you can basically say
3. All right, so I just add that as my pool mod.
Yeah,
right?
Actually, you could save it until after. I'm not sure if there's a lag there. I'm sorry. You can do it after you roll to see if you spend some money to make this a little bit more juicy. You're going to get
difficulty.
The difficulty is going to be 6.
Oh, 6. Okay, perfect. Here we go. And it was a 3. It's a success. I got 3 successes. Sorry. Oh wait, no, unless that was from before. Says there was an error with your formula. Please try again.
What?
Yeah, let
You
me
did
try
it
that.
through the character sheet, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
what formula?
I don't know.
No idea.
Zero
Zero
successes. So I'm gonna throw money at it.
Okay. You can. So basically, I apologize, and I think there may be some lag on my computer because it seems like it takes a while for what I'm saying to get through. So yeah, you can throw some money at this to make it happen. So what happens is, since we want this scene to move forward, is regardless, you're going to get some audience with Officer McCormick as a security counsel. If you had succeeded, you set the stages on how well that worked, right? You're just deep money. He's looking for the job. It's perfect. Because you didn't succeed, you could put a consequence of some sort on this and say, all right, I get the meeting with him, but he's suspicious, or he has no interest in this, but the money kind of twisted his arm and he had to come anyways. You add some sort of complication on this for yourself to role play with.
Okay. Do I have to come up with that right now, or can I?
No. You could,
sit on it?
since this is planning for the future, you could give me maybe an idea of what it might be, but we don't have to play it right now.
Perfect. I'll think of something good.
Okay. Let's move over to I think let's keep it in Las Vegas. Maybe we'll go to Charlie.
Sure.
In the sewers of Vegas. How much information are you share? Actually, Meriwether, since this happened a little later, maybe you didn't share any information yet.
Yeah.
All right. So where are you actually looking? What do you look? How are you going to try to find the creep?
Charlie's a very straightforward person. I think Charlie's just gonna roam around the sewers until she finds something.
Nice. Okay.
This is why I decided to go to the Gypsum Caves.
Yeah. You can give me a perception streetwise roll, difficulty 6. Again, you're going to find the creep, but if you succeed, you set the stage. If you do not, probably the creep sets the stage, or you can give me some sort of fun consequence. So,
Sorry.
I'm sorry, that was perception, streetwise, and
yes,
the difficulty was 6.
Sorry, there's a lot of buttons to hit. What? Oh, 3 successes.
Nice. 3 successes. Okay, so yeah, I don't think the sewer is your domain, but somehow you did an amazing job. Tell me how.
Well, Charlie, I'm gonna say I'm going with the cowboy theme, which I think that for a time she worked as like a US Marshal, so she did a lot of bounty hunting, so she's actually pretty good at finding people when she's looking for them.
Okay. That's neat. Are you are you like are you trying to, is it kind of like a trap where you're like wandering through as if you don't know where you're going, but something like that? Or
I think she'll start off like actually looking, and once she finds some signs of like movement and life that's bigger than a rat, say, then she'll probably sort of try and find a nice corner to trap the creep in.
okay, I like this. So you're wandering through the sewer. You're tracking this thing down, which you are not supposed to know what it is, but you get the strong impression that this is a vampire. And at some point or other, you realize you're being stalked, but somewhat clumsily. Like this person thinks he's gonna have an awesome reveal moment where he's gonna hunt the hunter, but you are well aware he's after you.
Oh, that's hilarious. So I lead them down into an area which I know is a dead end. And I pretend like I don't know it's a dead end to try and lure them out.
All right, yeah, you are setting up there. Like you could almost, you know what? You could hear heavy breathing, which is ridiculous because they're shallow breaths. He doesn't need to breathe, but he is excited because he thinks, oh, this is perfect. She's going into the dead end and she has no idea. So yeah, all right, you've set it up. Probably in a minute or two, he's going to try to leap out at you and either attack you or surprise you, whatever his intent is. Anything you want to do in particular?
So I'm going to wait for him to reveal himself, and then I'm going to turn the tables and get him into the corner is basically my plan.
Okay, great. I neglected to ask you the most important thing I should have asked you, which is you're a gun person. Tell me about your guns.
Oh yeah, total vintage revolver with 6 barrels. It's got like this ivory handle that's like, I want to say it's carved in the shape of like a curled black cat, like ready to pounce.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I've got 2 of them, of course. Every gunslinger has to have 2 guns.
Yeah. Is the black cat like in relief because it was ivory handled? So it's like,
right.
It's the part that isn't. And that's cool. All right. Yeah. I like that a lot. So the creep, who is a mixture of Bat Boy and Hey Arnold, horrible. It is football head and giant bat ears.
Oh my god!
Looms up and is like, "You've entered my domain."
And then I grab him by the scruff of the neck and toss him into the dead end.
Wait! I'm defensive.
And then I'll draw one of my guns and cock it and point it at him and say,
like his big ears flop down a little bit, very like dog who's been yelled at.
I'm afraid that you've just entered my domain.
That was so cool.
What do you know about the vampire attack?
I was just following the masquerade. They say kill your offspring. Well, not literally, but they said don't make offspring. And then
what
happened? What are you talking about?
I'm talking about the gruesome sorry, I don't know about any gruesome murders. Hold on, let me rethink that. I'm talking about the fact that some humans are saying that they found a vampire attack victim.
Oh, you mean like up there on the surface?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a mole man. I know that it's just the street, but yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's Vegas. People get killed. Vampire attack. I mean, well, there was a pretty bloody murder. I know of one pretty bloody murder. Is that what you're talking about?
Maybe. Tell me what you know.
I would be glad to. You have a gun on me, and you have totally one-upped me in this situation, but also I need some more information if I'm going to squeal. Can we at least narrow down the right murder I'm telling you about? There is a slight problem with your plan where you're like, didn't good enough. Damn it. Tell me about all the murders.
Tell me all the murders.
I think he does. I think he starts telling you about every murder he's heard about recently. We can narrow this down probably in a little bit. Actually, you know what he'll say?
Of my friends, yeah,
with friendship, you'll figure this out. But I think between you and Merriweather, you're going to figure out which alley murder this was, and you'll be able to go there. Because in the world of darkness, there are murders every minute, every hour on the hour.
There would not be a lot of people left if that were the real
it
case.
doesn't hold up under any kind of scrutiny. Maybe we'll go back to this in a bit. Depends on how much more we have of the podcast. Let's visit with Lex for a minute. Lex, the gypsum mines are, I think, gypsum cave is a few miles away from the main strip, but you can get there within an hour or two. I think it's like 10 miles away. It's not that bad. But it is out in the middle of nowhere. I think it literally is full of gypsum. I don't know why they mined it, but nobody is listening to this podcast to get history of Vegas. So it's there. What do you want to do?
Well, I need to get out there first. So
yeah,
I'm going to get someone to drive me out there.
All right. How do you want to play this? Do you want to find like a cab driver or just some random tourist? Who are you looking for?
Preferably a cab.
Okay.
It's their job to do this sort of thing. So
yeah, and there's no question about it. It's a cheap fare, and it's kind of a touristy spot, I think. Maybe not for the time of night you're going, but the cab driver does not care. And does not blink twice at your appearance. Like, not the weirdest thing he's seen today. Unless it's challenge accepted.
I have a pretty bizarre appearance right now, but it's not like I still think it's a fairly Vegas-y appearance. So yeah.
All right. You blend in and you could take the cab and you could get there if you want. If there's nothing else you want to do on the cab ride there.
I'm bored. I'll talk to the cab driver about murders.
Oh, murders. You want to hear about murders? I know all about the murders. Let's see. Does he know anything about the murders? Let's do charisma streetwise. Let's see how good you are at charming out some stories of the murders from him. He may know something.
Okay. It's not alphabetical, Frank.
Wow. I think it is modeled after the original character sheet. So take it up with Mark Rain-Hagen.
I will.
Why the fuck isn't it alphabetical? Everything should be alphabetical.
I assume it's difficulty 6.
Yeah.
5 successes.
Oh,
wow.
This guy is the murderer.
Game over. We win.
Oh, man. Oh,
this does kind of play into my my main skill set. So,
Yeah. All right, cool. You're pressing the pavement, and this is going to be a very successful knowledge get for you. You could set the stage of why this is so useful. Is he super talkative? Are you very charming? What happened in this long conversation? I assume by the time you get to the gypsum cave that you were sitting in the front seat next to him.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've crawled up there. This guy actually gave the murder victim a ride right before he was killed.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah. And so you're just chatting him up, and he's like, it's weird you're talking about murder. I know a lot about the historic murders of Las Vegas. This is a creepy town. You really look into it. Nobody gives a damn because we're only like one street. But it's like, we have a cool story. You can write a book about us. I got a Brooklyn accent for some reason. All of it.
He's a cab driver.
Yeah, that's right.
Everybody knows all cab drivers come from Brooklyn. That's
where they're
right.
That's where they're born.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, he's talking your ear off about everything historical, and then he's like, it's still happening. Just the other day, I gave some guy a ride who was down on his luck, lost everything in the casino, and he just wanted a ride to a place, a hotel he could spend the night on for like $8, and there's nothing like that on the strip. So I had to bring him to the very end of the strip and wish him luck. But I found out the next day he was killed, just murdered. It was supposed to be pretty creepy stuff, serial killer stuff. Like they wrote stuff in his body.
They wrote stuff in his body?
Yeah, like with a knife, they were like carving things, and they wrote blood on they used his blood to write stuff on the walls. I mean, it's sick. I could have died if I'd stayed there any longer. Thankfully, I found out he had no money, so I just let him go. But oh man, it makes you think. Some sickos out there, right?
For sure. I'll kind of look at him hungrily.
Are you making it obvious that you're a sicko?
Yes.
So he swallows hard, and he goes like, "Yeah." So, but this guy was like, he was from out of town. You know, us townies, we look. I was born in Brooklyn, but I was raised in Vegas. I feel like this is my second home. Where are you from?
Vegas.
Good. Yep, we sure do stick together. Well, here we are at the Gypsum Cave out in the middle of nowhere.
I'll just clap him on the shoulder and say, "Thanks, buddy."
Thank you. Thank you. And he peels off.
All right. I'm going into the Gypsum Cave.
All right.
And I'm just walking in there. And
yeah. Okay.
The two guys are called, what are their names again?
Their names, they are Weary and Wise, is what they're referred to. They are a coterie of two, Gangrel and a Tremere.
Yeah.
And,
so
I'm
just going to start yelling their names as I go in.
Most of those words meant nothing to me.
Yes, as right and should. They are basically like 4 different ways of saying vampire. Because that's what Vampire the Masquerade is. It's about having a wide syllabus for like, different terms for the same thing.
They were like, I think we should make a vampire thesaurus. And they were like, yeah, let's make a game out of it.
Yes. So one of our commenters wants to use our game as history for theirs. Please do.
Please.
Let's just establish it now. All the stuff we are doing is just history for your game. I would love that.
Yeah.
Also, we have been asked if you what is Merryweather's consequence for getting Officer McCormick on his side to come and do a security consult. There's going to be some sort of consequence. Officer McCormick was somehow not interested in this. If you have an idea, if you do, feel free to contribute and let us know.
Yes.
Non-pro role-playing universe.
Yes.
Oh, yes. I cannot wait till you find out that the cab driver was actually Rex the entire time.
Rex got turned into a human and sent back in time to Earth.
And gained a Brooklyn
Queens, Brooklyn, Bronx, it's all the same. I'm from New Jersey. I don't know.
I'm also from New Jersey.
Yeah, for the record,
so you're calling out Weary and Wise as you enter the Gypsum Cave.
Yeah.
You can smell a fire in the cave itself. Something strange is in the air, like it's being cooked. It smells like blood.
Why would you cook blood?
Cooks blood?
But anyway, I will wander down towards the fire.
Okay. A voice calls back out to you. You've come looking for us, Weary and Wise. Good for you, young man. Please, sit by the fire and warm yourself. Not that it matters.
I roll.
These two look like they've escaped from a Ren fair. But like they're wearing the top hats, so not even a Ren fair, less like from like some
steampunk convention.
Yeah, oh God. They definitely are like community theater, right? They're just like, they are dressed up like as if they were coming from a production of Waiting for Godot.
Right.
Top hats, they look disheveled. They look like caricatures of hobos. And they do look relatively similar. One has more bestial features, like huge mutton chops, fangs that are apparent, pointy ears, and dagger slit eyes. The other one is attempting to wear his clothes more refined, but also looks disheveled and ridiculous. The one who is disheveled and ridiculous and not with bestial features is the one cooking something with blood on a wrought iron pan in a like a little hobo fire, and he's the one calling you over.
I'll come over and sit down.
And who might you be?
My name's Lex Deluxe.
Lex.
Have you heard of me?
I do not believe I have. I am Wise, and this is my compatriot Weary. And Weary kind of grumbles. Lex, are you from the city proper?
Yes.
No. Wonderful.
Yeah, I don't get out here to gypsum mines that often.
Well, very few do. That's why we've taken up residence here, because it's more suitable for my studies and then Weary interrupts and says, "Nobody asked you any of this. What do you want?" He addresses you, Lex.
That's a good question. I doubt you to have any information that you could use to help me, but you are one of the few other vampires in the city.
Wise says, "Sure, we have plenty of information. I am a font of knowledge. In fact, my studies," and Weary interrupts again and says, "Nobody cares. Is there a problem going on in the city?"
Yeah, somebody drained someone and then left him where people could be found.
Weary starts laughing. Like he's appreciating the moment. Wise says, "Well, that's not good. That's not good at all. Well, we certainly don't have a lot of insider information on what goes on within the city itself, but I have pretty well established bunch of tricks, we'll say, to gather information if it's of interest to you and if you're willing to pay my price." And he keeps dabbling and pouring weird things on the blood concoction that's in the fire.
All right, I'm interested. What's your price?
So you wish to find out more about a series of murders? You said it was a series, or was it just one?
I actually don't know.
Well, I can detail what it would take for you to find out exactly what happened in the night of the unpleasantness, and then you can owe me a favor, and we'll call it even.
No, never give anyone favors. If I've learned anything from fairies, you should never give a favor to anyone
We're
ever.
vampires, not fairies.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean shit.
No, it means you both have a lifetime to make him have you pay it back, is what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Weary kind of rolls his eyes to this entire back and forth, and Wise is just looking eager as a evil fairy waiting for you to make a promise.
Never make a promise ever, forever and always. That's my policy.
True.
So I'll turn to Weary and I'll say, what do you think? Is this worth it?
Nothing with him is ever worth it. 40 years ago, I made him a promise to show him how to survive out here when the rest of the vampires kicked his ass out. And then Wise interrupts. He goes, "Nobody asked you." And Weary rolls his eyes and just continues to grumph.
He really is weary. Lives up to the name.
Wise says, "Well, listen, I'm a reasonable man, a reasonable talents, but not reasonable means. So I'm not really interested in money per se, but I am interested in access, and I'm not very well welcome in the city. So occasionally we may need a few things. Most of my work is in the sanguine arts. So most of what I would require from you would be blood. Not from you directly, although perhaps you do have an interesting flair about you. What is it you are, after all?
What is it I am?
Are you? Yes.
Well, I'm an entertainer.
No. That's not what I meant. What bloodline? What antediluvian do you hail from? What generation? I'm just curious. Perhaps you could make this payment in advance, and you don't have to worry about it.
Lex
Weary interrupts and says, "Definitely do not give him any of your blood."
Lex just looks disappointed and says, Malkavian.
Oh, Wise now looks disappointed.
Yeah. And he says, and I'm of no generation worth talking about.
Fine. Well, in exchange for the formula, I will still make a deal for a promise. It'll mostly be kidnapped victims for blood. Trust me. It's simple.
Oh, if that's all.
All right. We have a deal.
Oh my God.
What you need to do to find out what's going on. What happened at the original scene of the crime. He goes, now, of course, there are some elements in this that are harder to get than others. I can make most of the thaumaturgical concoction, but certain ingredients you will be responsible for getting for yourself. But here you go. And he hands you like just a ratty piece of paper that he wrote some stuff down on.
Okay. And this is like a list of ingredients?
Yes. The number one list on the ingredients is the eyes of the victim.
Oh boy. That'll be fun.
Interesting.
To get.
Yeah. And the rest of the stuff seems a little odd, but the only one that makes you like, all right, is the eyes of the victim. Yeah, and that's it. He says this will open up your eyes to see what happened on that fateful day or night, whatever it is.
Yeah, one of them.
So
things.
I do have another question for you.
Okay.
In your studies, have you come across anything that still works on a vampire, psychedelic wise?
He looks up for a moment and he looks deeper into the cave and he says, "Oh, a great many things."
Oh.
Well, let's see how good you are at running and fetching.
Says, so, well, yes, now you've rekindled my interest.
Yeah. So a potential to tighten your relationship with this man in the future. Yeah. All right. We're a little bit over the hour. Are we? What time is it? Yeah, it's 9:04. So a little bit over the hour. I think we have a good place. Does anybody want to have a final scene or a moment before we wrap? I know it's been a while since Alex had anything to say. Hopefully next game everyone will be in the same place.
Merriweather always has something to say, but we're good for now.
Okay.
I also think that we can start next session by convening and offering all the information we have.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yes. I think it all fits in pretty well. We'll still find out why, what the consequences of Officer McCormick coming will be. And we do have a little bit of information of the crime scene and something we could do if we ever get more information on the body. Great. This was fun. I really enjoyed it. Nice to get back in the saddle. Hopefully we'll be doing this next week, probably only on Twitch. So join us on Twitch. And this has been a lot of fun. Now we wave at the camera as I awkwardly try to hit the end broadcast button without messing up and hit start broadcast again. Infinite loop probably. Hey there, we hope you enjoyed this episode of Dungeon Not Included. If you did, please tell a friend and leave us a 5-star review and encouraging comments on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or wherever you get your podcasts. It really does help spread the word for new shows like ours. You can follow the latest from the Dungeon Not Included crew on Twitter at DNI Crew, and over at Facebook at Dungeon Not Included, or at our home on the Non-Productive Network at Non-Productive.com/DNI Crew, where you can find articles, character sheets, and Patreon exclusives, as well as our latest episodes. Thanks!
This has been a non-productive media presentation. Executive producer Frank Hablawi. This program and many others like it on the Non-Productive Network is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial No Derivatives license. Please share it, but ask before trying to change it or sell it. For more information, visit Non-Productive.com.